All right, guys, thank you so much for coming back to the channel today. I am really excited about today's interview. I have a fellow carnivore yogi here with me. And we're going to talk about carnivore diet, yoga. We're going to talk about hair loss, just her healing journey, where she's been. And I think it's going to be a really fun chat. So you're going to want to watch the whole thing. But if you wouldn't mind, introduce all my viewers to you. Tell us all a little bit about yourself.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I am so honored and humbled to come on here and share my journey, because I am rounding the corner to 54 years old. My name is Sonia Graff, and I am a yoga teacher, and recently just started an online coaching business for women in our 50s, 60s, and some of my clients are even in their 70s, who have been struggling with autoimmune issues and weight loss issues and confidence issues and depression and anxiety, especially now around what's going on with our country. So, just launched this business and helping women find their stride.
I love it. I love it. And I love your story too. How long have you been carnivore now, or been doing a meat-based diet?
Coming up on 2 years.
Wow.
My 30-day experiment has come around the corner to 2 years.
Funny how that works. It's like, I remember I just watched your interview with Nutrition with Judy, and I'll link that below the video if people want to watch something else with you in it. But, I felt the same way. It's like, I can do anything for 30 days. I'll try this out for 30 days. And here we are. Like,
Yeah.
2 years later, it's like, you start feeling so good that you're like, why would I stop? Why would I quit this?
Absolutely. And I found, like, even, now I ask my girls to stop drinking for 30 days, and that's usually the big one. They're like, I can't give up my wine. Oh my gosh, I'm going to go crazy and kill somebody. So, but you know what? I ask them if we're talking about your health and healing your gut and feeling better than you've ever felt. So what's more important? Things that take you closer to your goal, or things that pull you farther away? And, ultimately they always decide to give in and give it up. And I would probably have to tell you, a good 85, maybe 90% of them stick with this and don't go back to where they started.
Yeah.
It's that good.
That's amazing. And that shows you're a very encouraging support as well, that you have that kind of what I call like a recidivism rate.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you know what? I actually increased it from 30 days. And then I thought, well, if anyone's interested to go the next 30 and then the next 30. So it turned into a 90-day program.
Yeah.
And you know what? The warriors are sticking with it and changing their health and changing their lives. And it's just been the most rewarding thing to be able to be a part of.
That's so cool. And I'll make sure I link all that below, because I know a lot of my viewers love to work with somebody who's really doing the deal. And you're definitely a testament to that. So let's actually, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about what led you to the carnivore diet, what life was like before, some of the problems that you had before you changed the way that you started eating.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? My life before carnivore was, how can I say, hell. It was hell. I was right around the age of 48, 49, 45. So 45, I found my first, right up in the front, just a tiny little bald spot. And I thought, well, that's really weird. Maybe it was my hair products or something. And sooner than later, it just spread. So I had this big chunk of hair missing here. I was flipping my hair over, and then it started to grow back, and I found one back here. And then when it would grow back, I'd have one back here. And I'm not talking about, shedding, normal shedding that happens as we get older. I'm talking about full-on alopecia areata. Excuse me. So I was going to my dermatologist every 3 weeks for 7 years, Sarah, to get up to 30 cortisone shots in my scalp, which was just mad pain. But then he talked me into doing 6 PRP treatments. So where they draw your blood, spin the platelets, and inject them into your scalp. And that was worse than childbirth, which I've done a couple of times. So I'm telling you, it was misery, and it didn't work. So along with the severe hair loss, I started to experience some joint pain. And I tacked it up to just getting older. I'm getting older. I'm almost 50. This is what happens, because that's what we're led to believe, right? We get to a certain age and we start to feel perimenopausal and things just start to fall apart, and we should just embrace that. So the inflammation started in my hands and my lower back. And it got so bad. And as a fellow yogi, going on our mat, that's sacred to us. That's where we get our heads right, where we have the conversations with us and the universe. So I was able to meditate, but I wasn't able to do full practices anymore because I was suffering with so much joint pain and inflammation. And it was chronic. It just kept getting worse and worse. And sometimes I was in bed for 3 or 4 days at a time, which led to depression and anxiety because I thought, what is happening to me? Along with every time I ate something, I had come from a vegan world. Every time I was eating, I was bloated, and skin rashes, couldn't sleep. Everything, my whole life was falling apart. And I saw my husband's in the medical field, so he was sending me to specialist after specialist. And I literally, they scanned my hands for rheumatoid arthritis because I couldn't even tie my shoes anymore. I had my bone doctor check out my bones. I had a doctor for everything. And not one of those doctors, Sarah, and of course I didn't think to know this at the time, but not one of those doctors asked me, how are you fueling your body? What are you eating? Isn't that amazing? I didn't learn that until I arrived at Carnivore through a girlfriend of mine that I'd gone through yoga teacher training with. And she had been hardcore vegan and was even raw vegan. And she was doing carnivore, and I was watching her journey, and I reached out to her and I was like, Nick, you're killing it. Like, you have never looked better. And she said, if I tell you what I'm doing, it's going to blow your mind. So we had a conversation about it, and it blew my mind. I thought, okay, for her to do that, because, we arrive at Carnivore pretty much when we're desperate, right? Yeah. We're in a place where
I couldn't do my yoga practice anymore. That's why I came to it, because I was like, this hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 39. Exactly. I was 39 and I couldn't practice anymore because I was in so much pain. And I was like, well, what have I got to lose? You get desperate because, like you said, it's a sacred practice. It's something that you need for your mental health and physical health, and you can't do it anymore. That was one of my problems. It's like, we usually have a laundry list of things, but that was kind of like the nail in the coffin. It's like, I can't really do my yoga practice anymore. So yeah.
And that's a great choice of words, nail in the coffin, because I felt like I was dying. And there was days that I was praying for it. I was just so miserable. And if she had told me at that point, because she's someone that I just loved and respected, Sonia, eat cardboard for 30 days. I'd be like, bring on the cardboard. So, I was literally to that point where it was about healing. It was never about getting fit. It was never about having 6-pack abs. I think those are great goals. And if that's your goal, right on. You know what? We can get there. But ultimately, it's to heal your body, right? To get yourself right. Because I believe that, inner beauty shines from the inside out. So once this is all working, this all comes together. Yeah. So I jumped on the carnivore wagon, and it was a lot of trial and error. I didn't have a coach, and I was kind of, let me try this, let me try that. And there were some things that worked and some things that really did not work. I know we talk about digestive issues in the beginning.
Oh yeah. It's a big thing for people. Yes.
Sure. And I didn't have the tweaks that I have now that I can tell my clients about. So, and going through now, like I said, I'm 53, almost 54. I'm in full-blown menopause. So that was another, I didn't even expect the fact that the benefits would be so great during this.
That's a big question that I get quite a bit from people that watch my channel, is how does carnivore affect menopause? Does it help? So I would love to hear your experience with that, because that's a big topic that people are curious to hear about. And I see a lot of women going on the hormones, and then, so tell me a little bit, let's dive into that topic a little bit more. Yeah.
Judy made a really great point. She had said, you know what, hormone replacement therapy isn't even 100 years old. This is relatively new to us. And I've come to find through all of my research and trial and error is that doctors, they're not trained in recovery. They're not trained in diets, right? So, they're trained in, okay, what hurts? Let me find the pill that's going to make you feel better. Because I had a laundry list of big pharma that every single doctor I saw wanted to put me on. One for hair loss, one for sleep, one for digestion, one depression, anxiety, like so many pills. I am completely medication free, which is awesome, because there was a time when I was on antipsychotics, because I was so depressed. That just blows my mind. But back to the hormone therapy, I'd always refused. That just wasn't my jam. So I wasn't going to do that. I thought I'm just going to suffer through this. That's what we do. I was waking up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat. I'm talking, had to get up and change the sheets sometimes or take a shower. It was so miserable. Just like we're sitting here talking, I would, I would just burst into flames on the inside, and I'd have a sweat mustache and my eyebrows would be melting off, and I'd just be like, oh God, help me please. So you know what? I realized removing sugar was like 99% of the problem, right? Refined carbohydrates, all of those things were the things that were keeping me up. And, I did have a love for wine. So alcohol and night, I would wake up. It was killing me. And I didn't know because I thought I was relatively healthy, right? Yeah. Outside of my wine and, the mommy wine nights and rosé all day. I was doing what I thought and what I was taught was healthy, and I was falling apart. So, without hormone replacement, I've been able to stop the hot flashes. I've been able to stop the night sweats. I no longer have insomnia, which, I believe also was hormonally challenging.
Yeah, I think it is very hormonally linked, honestly. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So I have, my husband, who was completely skeptical, completely. He was like, it's I don't know about this. This is a fad thing. Is this an Instagram diet that you're going to try? We've been together a long time, and I've been pescatarian and vegan and vegetarian and paleo. Like, I've tried all of these different things, and all I was doing was getting sicker and sicker. Yeah. So it took him a while to buy into. And what I told him is, I'm going to lead by example. So you know what? I don't drink beer, but hold my beer and watch me go, because I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to commit to it. And I think that it's really a mental game. Would you agree?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And we get beat up. You and I had this conversation.
Yes.
People fear what they don't understand, and when you're doing something that goes against their principles and their beliefs, they're vicious, man.
Okay. Yes. I mean, we were just chatting, what was it, like a few weeks ago? You were getting really attacked over on Instagram. I have so many like blocking features up on my page that people don't really, they're like, oh, I can't even comment on most of her posts.
That was brilliant too. Thank you for that, because that alleviated the problem.
But it's like, what drives people to do that? You're not harming anyone by living your life this way. You're not outwardly hurting anybody. In fact, I would argue, and we've had this conversation, I know you had this conversation when you talked to Judy, that ahimsa that we talk about, which is so ironic, because people that they're attacking you saying, what about ahimsa, but they're attacking you. So aren't they kind of attacking you with, I don't know.
Right. And ahimsa means do no harm.
No harm. And they're attacking you, and they're saying, but you're not. But what you said and what I've said so many times is that taking care of yourself, and if you're depriving your body of essential nutrients, which when I was vegan, I was very nutritionally deprived. I was very anemic. I was very sick. I had zero muscle. I felt terrible. I was always injured. Are you kidding me? My shoulders were always getting injured with chaturanga. It was just like it waiting to happen.
And I had to have shoulder surgery, and I was set to have shoulder surgery on the other shoulder, and I don't have to anymore. Wow. That is mind-blowing to me, right?
That's completely mind-blowing. It's like, so when you're eating animal foods, you are practicing ahimsa, because you're no longer doing harm to yourself. And
we cannot help other people if we are not taking care of ourselves. So self-care is number one, right? Do no harm begins with me. I can't do harm to me if I want to help you or teach you to do no harm. So yeah, it's amazing to me that they come at you and they try to throw the yoga terminology and guilt you into it. Well, I'm not going to be guilted. And I feel better than I have ever felt in my life. And we don't really cherish our health, I think, until we lose it. you
Yes.
know, take it for granted. We just think, oh, I can get up and do anything I want. And as yogis, we practice every day and we can do some pretty amazing things with our bodies. Not that that's what the practice is, but by, doing the practice, we become strong, we become flexible. People see pictures of us, the static photos, and they're like, wow, I can't believe what you can do.
Yeah.
So when that is taken away from us, all of a sudden you realize, wow, you know what, something's got to change, because without that chunk of my life, I mean, I can't even fathom what my life would be like without being able to go to my mat to heal what's going on inside me.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah, it's just a lot of misinformation. And I think that there's a way also, if you eat a carnivore diet and you want to be helpful for the environment, we could say that eating regeneratively farmed meat
Yes.
and
Yes.
eggs is actually way better for the environment than going out and eating vegan desserts and vegetables that have been monocropped, because none of these people are, just because it doesn't exist, there isn't supply for people to go out and eat regeneratively farmed vegetables. And I would argue that the people that are doing all this attacking about ahimsa are definitely not eating that way. They're probably drinking almond milk and killing like the
Yes.
billions of bees that they're killing. And
Yes, and then when there's no bugs in the soil, the birds can't eat the bugs, and the
right,
whole ecosystem gets thrown off balance, and somehow I end up being the jerk.
right. And I don't ever want to go out there and be judgmental towards people, because it's not my place to do. It's just like, it can be difficult psychologically when you're getting attacked like that, because you're not trying to hurt anybody. You're trying to live your life and be of service to people. You're helping all these women now. You've got this coaching business, you've got this group that you're running, and you're helping a ton of people now. And I'm sure that you help people as a yoga teacher as well. And it's like, it's hard when you have a positive intention behind what you're doing and people come out and attack you. It's hard.
Well, luckily we have the tools, right?
Yeah.
I realize when I read these things, that's not about me. That's about that person. And I admire your passion, person. I was passionate too when I was vegan.
Yeah.
But you know what I wasn't? I wasn't cruel. I
Right.
wasn't mean. And I didn't tear people down. And I just find that inexcusable.
Agreed.
Make your point. You know what? We can have these conversations. We can have these conversations about a plethora of different things that are going on in the world without having to attack each other or tear each other down.
Exactly. I completely agree. Yeah, thanks for saying all that, because it's definitely, putting yourself out there as someone who does eat this diet, a very meat-based, meat-heavy diet, and you're a yogi. You get a lot of attack from people in the yoga community and vegans that are just like, oh yeah, you're a yogi. It can be difficult to deal with.
Well, that's the number one thing I get is, that's not very yogic.
Yes.
Like, what does that even mean?
What does yeah.
What is yogic? Like, you're gonna come onto my page, call me horrific names, put me down,
And then say you're not yogic.
and then say I'm not very yogic. What's not yogic? Being judgmental and being mean. That's not yogic.
Right. Yeah, I had somebody do a video, like a critique video of me recently. And she was tearing me apart. She took one of my videos and was like tearing me apart and talking about how unspiritual I was and what a terrible person I was. And this is not yoga. And I was like, I didn't respond. I haven't acknowledged this person. However, the irony of that is just so crazy to me. It's like, you're making a whole video about somebody else not being spiritual.
Who's got that kind of time? Get a life.
Right? What does that say about you? What does that say about your spiritual life?
Yeah, and again, Sarah, that's not about you, right? You know that. You are doing what works best for you. And in order for us to be of service to others, we have to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
And does it make me, was I thrilled? Was I absolutely stoked to go, wow, I'm gonna just eat nothing but meat? No. You know what? It was like, I should keep this on the down low.
Yeah, I would too.
I don't know, people get mad at me, but you know what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
My journey is not for anyone but me, right? And when women connect with me, I tell them, I'm going to create a safe space for you, a judgment-free zone, and you need to have a thick skin. That's what I need to arm you with before we get started. You know, people are going to question you because they fear what they don't understand.
Yeah.
And, you know, my favorite comeback to vegans is I always ask them, well, how long were you carnivore before you realized that it was wrong? They're like, well, I would never. Okay, well, then how can you speak to it intelligently? How
Right.
can we have an intelligent conversation if I've done your thing? I know it sent me to the hospital with anemia, right? And that I was always injuring myself. All of the issues that happened to me because I did it your way, I didn't arrive at this easily. This was a difficult decision for me. But now that I understand the benefits and I choose my meats from, you know, sustainable places, and, you know, I'm very conscientious about that. And I give thanks to every animal that has sacrificed its life for me to have health, to try to make this a better planet.
Yeah. And you had a very significant, like you mentioned, a hospital stay at the height of your veganism. Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, I didn't, you know, I just didn't know what was wrong with me. I was weak. I was always in pain, but I had fainted. I was in a yoga class and I was doing a pose and I was upside down and I came back up and I thought, whoa, I came up too fast. That maybe I'm hungry. I don't know. I'd had my green smoothie. I don't know what was wrong. So, and then we went into another pose and I hopped back up and I just remember hitting the ground. I
Wow.
hit the ground, and when I woke up, there was an ambulance there, and I was like, no, I think I'm fine, but I hit my head. So they took me to the hospital for, you know, just in case I conked my bonk a little too hard. But when I got there, they ran some tests, and they said, oh my gosh, no, you are so anemic. Did some blood panels, and the doctor there, it's, you know, just in the hospital, it's not somebody that knows you, was like, oh yeah, so no, this is not a diet for you to be on. You need to do this, this, and this. And I thought, you don't know me, man.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I've been
Go
there.
around eating animal flesh just because you say, like, you know,
Right.
there I was on my pedestal.
Right.
And you know what? But it sunk in, you know,
Yeah.
something had opened, and I fell down, and I didn't know why I was continually feeling weak. And, you know, I was eating all the kale.
Yeah. All the superfoods.
All the superfoods, yep. And oh my gosh, I actually got to a place where I joined an MLM because there was a product that had, are you ready for this? 16 servings of fruits and vegetables in a tiny little packet, just added to water. I was having 4 or 5 of those a day, Sarah.
Mm, 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 mm.
And I was, you know what? I was 25 pounds heavier than I am right now. 25
That's
pounds heavier. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
No,
big belly, and just couldn't sleep, couldn't write my name on a piece of paper because holding a pencil was too hard. But you know what? I was healthy because I was eating all the fruits and vegetables.
superfoods. What people don't understand, it's like they always say you are what you eat, but truly it's you are what your body can absorb.
Yes.
And my body never absorbed the nutrients that were promised in these superfoods. My body never converted them. It could not use them. I carried around a pocketbook full of supplements, you know, and I would take them throughout the day and try to do everything right. And it never worked, you
And
know?
you know what? I'm going to say something embarrassing here, but we have to talk about this. I don't even know the last time I farted.
Praise the Lord, right? Because I used to go into yoga class and be like, oh God.
Totally. Oh my gosh, any twisting pose, you're like, please, oh please, no.
Right? Because I would have these attacks where my stomach would just be like a mess for like days. The only way I could get it to go away was to like not eat. Like I would have to do a fast because my stomach would just be such a disaster. And then I'd go into yoga class and I'd be like, oh my God, please don't let me do that today because it's going to evacuate the whole damn room.
Exactly. It was toxic. And that's the truth, isn't it? We were eating the things that we were told were healthy, and they were poisoning our bodies. We weren't digesting them. They were farts, and all that, you know, we need our roughage so that we can have fiber, so that we can go poo, like all of that
times a day.
Yeah. And I just was so hungry all the time.
Yeah.
Which is so nice with the carnivore diet, right? I do OMAD probably 90% of the time, unless I'm like I go for a long bike ride and weight train in a day, then I might be hungry twice a day, and I always let my body be my guide. But it's not that I set out, it's just that meat and fat are so satiating, the most satiating foods, and I'm getting everything I need, and it's the simplicity, right? Going to the grocery store instead of having to pick out sides and this and that and meal prepping and planning and you know what? No, it's
Yeah.
so easy to
So
do.
much easier. Yeah. Yes. Well, I forgot about the alopecia. I want to talk about that again because that's so significant, and that starts happening with women. And I haven't had that personal experience with any kind of hair loss, but I can't even tell you how many messages I get from women that are having hair loss. So how long did it take before you start to see improvement with the alopecia, and what's the status of it now?
Oh my gosh. So like I said, for 7 years, I was going to my dermatologist. And he probably just thought I was in love with him because he was a little young hottie. I'm just in the bathroom pulling my hair out so I can come spend time with you. So yeah, and he kept telling me, well, just don't be stressed. Stop being stressed.
Yeah, everyone says that.
Yeah.
You're too stressed out.
You're too stressed out. I was like, I work from home and I build my own business. I don't work for anyone else. My biggest stress literally is which yoga pants to pick.
Yeah.
That's it. I have zero stress. My kids are grown, they're gone. It's just me, my husband, and my dog living by the beach. I have zero stress in my life. And that's what you keep telling me. Stop being stressed. So, and oh my gosh, and I meditate every single day, multiple times a day. Like I am so zenned out.
Yeah.
So, that was the only thing he could come up with. And he said, nobody has the connection. Nobody understands why it happens. Someday it just goes, it's like a miracle. It just goes away.
It does.
And it didn't. So, all the shots and all the PRP treatments and all of the meditation, nothing helped until I went carnivore. And, wasn't even in my frame of reference that my hair would come back. Wasn't even on my radar. It was just about feeling better. And all of a sudden I noticed I had a really bad spot. And the thing that never happened, luckily, was I never had a spot here and a spot here. So it was,
You could always flip the hair.
Right?
Camouflage.
Yes, like I said, I told Judy I was like Donald Trump. I was just around. And so, it always worked out that it was okay. Nobody ever saw it unless I parted my hair and showed them the spots, which I have on my Instagram. But, my self-esteem, we're women. We want to have beautiful hair like you. I look at your hair and I'm just like, oh, #hair envy. But it started to grow back. I would say I noticed around month 4.
Wow.
Month 4 was the game changer for me because I was just so paying attention to what I was, the program that I was putting out for myself. I need to remember to journal every morning. I need to write down why I'm doing this, right? So every single day I have to have my manifestation list and focus on my why. And so I was building this program without knowing I was building this program. And before I knew it, I was looking in the mirror. I went to Thailand when I was 52. Yeah, a year and a half ago. And I remember I got up to do sunrise yoga and I went into the gym there. I was all by myself at my hotel and I saw myself in the mirror and I started to weep. I was like, look at that body. Like, I don't think I've ever looked this healthy. And so I took some selfies and then 2 months later, I looked at those pictures and I was laughing at myself. Like, you thought that looked good? Who is this? Like, I've never had a 6-pack. I've never had abs that you could see. I'm 100% Mexican. Do you know that it is easier for you to jump over the women in my family than to walk around them? They're just large women. So I'm like an anomaly. And it was starting to happen to me, with the belly and like a potato on 2 sticks with my skinny little legs. So it just, month 4, I realized and I will tell you, everybody, take before pictures.
Yes.
Take before pictures and honor them and cherish them because one day you're going to wish you had taken more of them. I have the 2 that I started with on January 28th. I waited, and then I finally took pictures January 28th because I was embarrassed about my body. I didn't want to be in a bikini taking pictures.
Yeah.
And so those are the only two pictures that I have to compare myself to today. And month 4 was when I realized, you know what? My body, excuse me, is a magnificent machine. I'm finally feeding it the dense nutrients and the fat that it has been craving. And people were like, you're getting too skinny, you're getting too skinny. What I found with the carnivore diet is my body's not going to let me get to anything. It's
Yeah.
going to do exactly what it needs to do. And I know that now because 2 years in, once I settled in at month 4, month 5, my weight hasn't fluctuated. Maybe
Wow.
by a pound or two, if I have a cheat day or if I, take some time off and just don't do much, it might fluctuate, body composition changes, which is why I like to take pictures almost every day just to kind of see what I'm doing. I have a food journal. I watch what I eat and say, wow, when I ate this, this is what I saw, or this is what I felt. And that's what I have my girls do. I think
Yeah.
that's such a big part of the accountability portion of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anyone who's done this for a significant amount of time can attest to the fact that once your body settles in to where it is its healthiest,
Mhm.
it can stay there as long as you stay to plan. And the plan is glorious because it's just so easy.
Yeah. And I think, it may take longer for some people. For me, it's taken a lot longer than that. It just, I think, depends on what you're
Starting
coming
point.
into, yeah, what you're coming into this with. And there's so many factors. I think as probably a yogi who practiced regularly, you have that advantage and the lower stresses in your life. But it's just such a great story. And I feel like your confidence is just such a big part of that as well. It sounds like you have regained a ton of confidence as well, which is amazing.
Indeed. I feel it's just reborn. I have this new lease on life. I no longer take my health for granted, and I just implore women that are teetering and thinking, oh, I don't know if it's hard. Yeah, you know what? It is hard to get started. Change is difficult. But
Yeah.
if you have a great support group and people that are actually walking it and talking it and doing it and implementing it in their lives and having success, you know, I've gotten so many letters from women that haven't even done my program, that are just like, Sonia, I've tried this, I want to do it, but I get stuck or I get a weekend. And you know what? That's because there's deeper things that we need to uncover, which is what Soulful Savage is about,
Yeah.
right? We tend to self-sabotage. How
Yes.
many times in your life did you start to lose weight? And people would say, oh my gosh, Sarah, you look amazing. And you're like, oh, I guess I could have a cupcake, right?
Oh, so many times. Yeah.
We
So many
start to
times.
think, oh wow, so-and-so said I look really skinny. I'm gonna have some pizza. I can afford to have some pizza. And
Yeah.
we just start to self-sabotage. And that's from something that's really deep inside of us.
Yeah.
So in my program, we dig into that.
Yeah.
I have to take you backwards to bring you forwards because the only way out is through.
Yeah.
So we do some deep soul searching, and you got weekly homework, you got daily journaling, and you have an accountability partner. And I try to come from a place of love, but I'm going to hold your feet to the fire
Yeah.
because I want you to have what I know you can have. You deserve to be the healthiest, happiest, fittest you that you can be at any age.
Yeah. And, one thing I love that you were talking about with Judy that I've also experienced is that you don't drink. I don't drink either. I haven't had a drink in 4 years. And I think that's another reason why carnivore can be really hard, as well as not drinking, is like you have to deal with stuff when you're happy. You can't take a drink. When you're sad, you're not going to use food or
Right.
use alcohol to numb yourself. And so I'm sure that, and part of a great thing of the program that you're doing is that women are dealing with these real emotions, like these raw emotions, and you're not using food, you're not
Right.
using alcohol, you're not running to things to blunt out that pain. And it's really hard, but
Yeah.
there's
To
a
feel all the feelings. I mean, to get deep in your feelings. And then, I had this conversation with a gal from Sydney, Australia, and she said, Sonia, I'm so grateful that you do this. And I was really hesitant. And I said, you know what? Here's the thing. You are the bravest kind of woman. You saw somebody on Instagram, right? A complete stranger
yeah,
reached out. put money in my bank account, and then proceeded to send me vulnerable photos in your bra and panties for me to put on the internet. Like, you are the bravest kind of woman. And if you have that kind of chutzpah, right, you can do anything you want to do. And she just laughed and she said, I never even thought about that. I was just looking for someone to connect with that could help me on this journey. And you're right. That's pretty brave. I'm like, you know what? The universe responds to a brave heart, and so do I.
I love it. I love it. That's so beautiful. I also wanted to ask you how this works with your husband. Now, does he kind of eat what you eat and you make him some sides, or does he eat totally different than you? How does it work with the family dynamic and carnivore?
Well, it's funny because we're a second marriage. So he had 3 children and I have 2. And we were that blended family that really just never blended very well. That's a whole other podcast for us. But yeah, so when we first got together, our kids would come to the dinner table and his kids would say, oh, I don't eat what you're making. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, this is not a restaurant.
Right. Not a short order cook.
Or, hello, you just don't get to eat. And so, you know, that's always been my mantra with my children. I'm the mom. I'm going to feed you what my mother taught me was healthy and delicious. And, you know, that's how we feed our families. So when I became carnivore, I basically had to address my husband the same way I addressed our children. This is not a restaurant. Mama no longer makes vegetables. Mama no longer makes potatoes. Oh my gosh. Sweet potatoes or sweet potato fries or any of the things that he really enjoyed. So if you want to eat with me, you're either going to get on board or you're going to have to make your own dinners. And to be completely honest, my husband was the chef of the family. He's Italian. So his thing was on Sunday mornings to get up at 6 a.m. and drive to the Italian market. And, you know, he'd have his sauce simmering down. My sauce, he's from Jersey. Make the sauce on Sunday mornings, and it would cook all day. The house smelled like heaven. And then we would have pasta like 3 nights a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, he would. But so, you know, taking that away from him was a big deal. But once he saw how I was healing, how I was feeling, then my hair grew back, that weight was falling off with me, that muscle tone was showing up. He was like, I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
So now he's on board. He's on board and he has lost, I think it was 27 pounds at last count. I will post a picture of my husband today on Instagram. So you guys wouldn't believe it. He is almost 65 and nobody can believe that, no matter where we go. We win money on that when we go to restaurants. But last night we were cleaning out our closets and he put on a sports coat from 2 years ago. And he looked like, remember the movie with Tom Hanks, Big?
Yes.
Yeah. He was wearing this jacket. He's like, look at this zone. I can't even believe this was me. So I put together a side-by-side picture of him and I posted it on Facebook. And people were just writing to me because, you know, usually my people are women that are in my age group. But when I posted a picture of my husband, I'm like, yeah, you know what? This works for everybody.
Oh, yeah. It definitely does. It definitely does.
And I have to tell you, Sarah, he literally had, he's in ultrasound. So he was at a convention and he was showing the doctors how well the machine worked and found his own cancer.
Oh my
God. In 2009. So he had his thyroid removed and then he had all of these treatments and then he had bone deterioration. So in 6 years, he had 9 major surgeries. He had a whole shoulder replaced and then a hip and then the other shoulder and then the other hip, major back surgery, hand surgery. I mean, he was falling apart and he was getting heavier and his life is the gym. He's never been a drinker. So, you know, he just worked out. And now when I show him his side by sides, it's like, I didn't even realize it had gotten away from me. I had no idea. You know, you just figure I'm in my 60s. This is what happens.
What happened? Yeah.
And now he's just dreamy.
I'm sure that was hard on you too, just having to watch him go through all of that and then care for him. And that had to have been really stressful as well.
Well, you know, luckily for me, I have that tough love thing about me. And I told him, I went to Dale Carnegie. I'm in sales and marketing. I didn't go to nursing school.
Yeah.
So get it together or I'm training for a younger model. And he never had another surgery after that conversation.
Aww. Oh my goodness. Well, one other little topic I wanted to touch on is just back to yoga. I remember listening to your interview with Judy, and you talked about going to a retreat in Bali. Well, you were going to, and then hearing it was a vegetarian or vegan retreat, and how that went down. It's so funny because I actually ended up a year ago going to a vegetarian retreat in Bali. But I told them that I was bringing beef jerky in my room, and I had them cook eggs for me all week. So, because
nobody gave you a hassle.
No, he was like, okay, we'll just keep the beef jerky in your room, and you know that if that's what you're doing for your health, they were cool with it. They're older though, but let's talk about your experience with that.
Oh my gosh. It blew my mind because it was a girl that I really, really like. She's a yoga teacher also, young, beautiful girl. And I've gone on retreats with a different yoga company with her. We totally hit it off. And so she was going to do her first retreat. So out of support for her, I thought, you know what, I'll go on this with you. She said, oh, yay, we're going to have so much fun. We're making plans. So I paid the $600 deposit, and her partner, who I'd never met, who's from LA, wrote me an email. And she said, you know, we're so excited that you're coming on our retreat. We have our own personal chef to cook all of our vegan meals, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And immediately my antenna went up, and I was new to carnivore. So I was like hardcore, right? I said, I'm going to commit to this 30 days. Yeah. And then I was on the 60 days. And I thought, oh no, that doesn't work for me. So I, just put out a nice little, hey, you know what? I just saw your email, and I just wanted to let you know I am on a specific way of eating right now. So, and it's not vegan. So if that's going to be a problem. And she wrote back, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm a farmer. I'm only eating animals. And oh my gosh, she sent back this, of course, she tore me apart basically.
Yeah.
She said, you need to restudy your ahimsa and look at what you're doing and how you're ruining the planet, what you're putting, dead flesh, dead babies, you're killing the babies. I mean,
oh my God, how did babies get brought into this?
I'm a baby killer. I mean, baby animals. So yeah, it was, just this whole long drawn out thing. And I said, well, no, I understand and I appreciate your passion. Just refund my money and I'll find a retreat that is better suited to my needs. Oh, you're not getting your money back.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So yeah, and then not only are you not getting your money back, but when you come on our retreat, you will take all of your meals alone in your room.
What? No.
You want me to pay thousands of dollars to travel across the world so that I can be isolated and by myself?
No.
I mean, what happens isn't yoga about inclusion? Like,
right.
We're about embracing everyone, and we are all one. And I have all the spiritual gangster T-shirts. They told me we're all one, man.
Right.
I didn't have to eat by myself in my room every single meal. So it got really it got ugly, and I had to I tried to reason with her, which is what I was trying to do with the crazy vegans on my feed. And come from a place of love and just have her understand how I arrived here. And I don't mean any harm, but yeah. I'm not going to pay thousands of dollars to be included. And so I said, but I'm going to be going on that retreat because I'm also not someone that walks away from $600. And it's okay because I found a place that will deliver my meat right to the retreat place. And I was just, at that point, I was just being snarky. I wasn't going. And her head exploded and well, la-di-da. But you know what? I had to meditate about that because it brought up some ugly in me. I wasn't exactly proud of my response, but I realized, you know what? You really have to have that thick skin in order to live this way. And I don't need to justify that to anyone, right? This is my journey and it's all about me. So it's like I said to Judy, right? How I vote, how I love, what I eat, those are mine. You don't get to tell me what's what.
And I think I love your story, and I want to bring you on here because I get people, I don't know about you, but I get people that message me constantly and say, thank you for putting yourself out there. I'm a yoga teacher. I've been in the yoga community. I've been involved in this for 20 years, and I am so sick, and I want to start eating the way that you're eating. I want to start eating meat, and I'm terrified to do it because I'm afraid I'm like, cheating on yoga or being
Right.
disrespectful to yoga. And it doesn't have to be that way, and I'm trying to talk more and more about the fact that yoga and veganism are definitely not tied together. There is no
Right. It's
historical
not a
basis.
rule.
If you study the text, it is not in the text. In fact, they talk about milk and honey as being yogic foods.
Mhm.
Meat is used as medicine in the Vedas. If you study the Vedas, this whole idea of veganism and yoga was created by Westerners, and
Mhm.
it's there's no basis of it in the literature
Right.
anywhere, but it's like cult-like behavior. It's complete cult-like behavior. And the sad part of that is that people are getting hurt and
Right.
sick, and like your story, ending up in the hospital, anemic, and just not living their life to the fullest potential. And it's not necessary.
Right. Well, what pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so if you want to suffer for your cause, go with God. You do you.
Yeah.
And I won't ever judge that. I'm not going to come from a place of judgment. And that's what I tell everyone who says, I could never do that. And I say, then you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
We are what we think.
Yeah.
If you believe it, you can achieve it. We are our thoughts. So as soon as you can wrap your head around the fact that suffering is optional, and
Mhm.
if you are in pain and you're suffering with dis-ease in your body, if I'm offering you the golden ticket and you tell me I could never do that, then you're right and you shouldn't. But when you get to a point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Exactly.
you're willing to do whatever it takes. And I know that you're with me. I just implore anyone that is teetering and thinking, maybe, gosh, yoga girls, do it, try it, give it 30 days. You can do anything for 30 days.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. Well, speaking of all that, where can people find you if they want to follow you and start interacting with you? What's the best way to find you?
Um, I'm on Instagram, that's kind of my jam. Sonia Graff is my handle, SonjaGraff. And my website is soulfulsavage.com, which I'm so excited about the name, right?
Yeah,
Soulful for the yoga, savage for the meat.
I love
Uh,
it.
yeah, so soulfulsavage.com has my whole program. It has all the information, lots of great information on the carnivore diet and how to become carnivore. And so there's also, programs that you can just log on if you only want the diet, or you can buy the program that has just the yoga, meditation, and weight training. So lots of different options on there. Give it a
Love
look and reach out. I'd love to chat with you and answer any questions that you have.
Very cool. I'll link all of that below this video as well so that it's easy for them to just pop it down and go right to it. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, this has been so much fun, and I really, really appreciate everything. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today.
Sarah, I am humbled and honored. I cannot thank you enough for what you do, the work that you're doing. You are impacting lives. So
Thank you so much.
awesome.
All right.